Hey everyone, it's Tracy Matthews of Flourish and Thrive Academy, and I'm here today with Wendy Richmond of Fashion Assembly Line, and she is a master at outsourcing jewelry production overseas. Wendy, thank you so much for being with us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I too started out like everybody going to your academy. I started a small jewelry company that turned into what was called Sparkling Sage. And
I remember it well.
It's a labor of love, and I had that for 10 years until I sold it. That was about 3 years ago. And I used to do everything locally, so I completely understand the plight of and the challenge of what it is for designers, young designers especially, to try making jewelry locally.
Right. It's expensive, definitely.
Yeah. It's timely, and you don't always get what you want. And then after that, I had, after I sold the company, I then moved on to a big licensing company that did like Kitson and Steve Madden and such. And I went overseas for them to China, and I went to the factories and to the shows and such, and I did product development and quality control, and that's where I learned how to start sourcing and manufacturing overseas.
So brilliant. So awesome. So we were talking a little bit yesterday, and we were chatting a little bit about branding and how sourcing overseas can really help you develop a personal brand and a signature style for your collection. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if you are into doing gems, and obviously you're going to go to maybe even the best gem show you possibly can in Arizona, you're still not going to get your own creations.
Right.
So, like, for example, if you did development overseas, you can actually design your own gem shapes and have them cut for you and use them in your collections. Perfect example of somebody like Cara Ross. She does these really Art Deco gem shapes.
Gorgeous.
And this really has become a good trademark for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she does that, obviously, by making these overseas. She does do local development. She doesn't do everything overseas.
Right.
So it's not scary. But you can really do certain trademarks for yourself and really brand your name by having your own particular look.
Right. Yeah, I remember I designed this one collection for my brand years ago, and it was all done with rose-cut stones, and you could not find that anywhere. I had to have them all cut overseas. So it was really brilliant in that case. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about some of the benefits of sourcing overseas?
Price. I mean, price and time are two really big factors. People are always so concerned about the time frame. Manufacturing overseas, it's really probably the same as, or maybe even a little shorter than over here. But
that's insane.
When you're developing and you're sourcing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying that's insane that it could take less time than over here.
Yes. In a lot of situations, it really can. So that's brilliant. But yeah, it's cheaper to source overseas when you're developing overseas. If you're trying to do a collection, it's definitely cheaper. The molds are cheaper.
Right.
Instead of doing it locally here, my molds were anywhere from $100 to $400. Mold prices there can generally be anywhere from $40 to $60.
Wow, that's such like a huge difference.
Huge difference.
Huge.
Yeah. It makes all the difference in the world. It's sort of like, even for young designers that want to do like Oat Milk and Guild Group, and they don't want to do like huge volume, you don't have to, and it's great even for stores like that if you're lucky enough to get into them. Yeah,
that's brilliant. Yeah, it does really help, because we did a couple of those flash sales, and we did all the production in-house for that. It took so long, and it was like a lot of work, and to have it done overseas seems like a brilliant idea. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you this, because I know a lot of designers are really intimidated by sourcing overseas. I know we just talked about the big vendors, but are there any other reasons why you think it would be a good idea to source your or produce overseas? Produce and source, because they're both two sort of separate things, but similar and tied together.
Sure. Yeah. So the benefit again of developing overseas is going to be time, money, individuality.
Right.
So you're going to be
time, money, individuality.
Yes. You're going to be able to create a look that's perfect for you and that helps you brand your collection and it's going to make you different from everybody else. So that's a perfect example of why, 3 reasons of why you should be developing and sourcing overseas.
Right. So let's talk about quantities, because I know people get so scared about that. And I know a couple people who are sourcing overseas who don't have to order 5,000 units of one style. So why don't you tell us a little bit, like, of kind of the range that you can expect when you're going to try and do it?
Sure. If you are doing fine jewelry, that's gold and diamonds, you can generally find people that'll do like 10 units per style.
Right.
If you're doing sterling or brass, you can generally find factories that are willing to do as low as 50 MOQ. And if you are doing base metal, you can find factories that are willing to do it for as low as 120 MOQ.
Wow. So if you were to do something like, let's say in brass, and you wanted to have it plated, so you'd have to order like, I think you said 100, maybe I got the number wrong, but like 100 per style. Would you be able to split it up into two different colors of plating, or is it all like one color or one style kind of thing?
No, when you do, for example, brass would be 50. You could find factories that
do 50. Okay, sorry, I got the number wrong.
Some of them, not all, otherwise it's 120. But let's say you can find a factory that does 50 MOQ for brass. And then when you're going to plate it, oftentimes after you've developed over time and after you've developed a relationship with them, they'll often allow you to split it. So let's say you want to split it, you can have 25 rhodium, 25 gold, and now you have 25 pieces of each, which is wonderful.
Yeah, much easier to sell, right?
Of course, you're not holding on to as nearly much quantity.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. You really know your stuff, girl.
Spent a lot of time in China.
I know. God, that must be a hard flight. Wow, thank you so much for being here. This has been really informative for me, I know for sure. You know, if I ever get back into producing jewelry, you'll definitely be the person I call up to help me out with this.
Yes, I'll go to college.
So, once again, it's Wendy Richmond from Fashion Assembly Line, and you can check her out if you have any questions about sourcing overseas, or if you're interested in inquiring or getting a little help doing it, because she actually does help designers do it, so you don't have to deal with the headache of dealing with the factories. Her website link's below. And yeah, you can find her on her website. So if there's any comments or any questions that you have about sourcing overseas, we would love to hear from you. So go ahead and post those comments in the comments below. And we'll see you the next time around. Thanks so much for stopping by, Wendy. And it's been so great chatting with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Bye.